Hey everybody, it's Kathy with Backyard Columbus, and I'm doing kind of an impromptu episode. You know, when I do these episodes, I kind of do them all at once so that I don't get behind and I don't get stressed out, because this actually is fun for me and I don't want to make it a big stressor. But so I was in the middle of making an episode, and if you listen to the Ruby Throat Hummingbird episode, I got distracted several times because there was a swamp darner dragonfly, which is North America's largest native dragonfly, and it's going to be flying around again. I'm going to try to stay focused. Anyway, I saw it flitting about and I got distracted. Well, when I finished the episode, I looked over at the pond I'm sitting next to, and sure enough, she was laying eggs on the log. I have a branch strewn across the pond, and it's a cattle trough. Okay, I don't know how big it is. It's like 3 feet around, but it's kind of oblong. Anyway, she was on there, and then I found her on another log, another branch in our other pond. So they dig a spot. So they dig and deposit with their tail. At the end of a female's tail, there is an ovipositor, and she digs and deposits her eggs. And then those eggs fall off into the water. They become, they're like water. They're called nymphs. I call them water crickets. They look like little crickets. They look like little insects. They stay in the water for about a year or two, and then they come out of the water. They crawl out of the water, and then it becomes like a cicada, with that exoskeleton. They bust out of the shell, and like, ta-da! Then we have a brand new dragonfly. But the title of today's episode, and this is really just what I wanted to tell you about, is this amazing thing that just happened, is called Bringing Nature Home. That is actually a book by Doug Tallamy, who is a really cool rock star of a backyard enthusiast. Like, we can create nature spaces, connect them together, and then it's better than any national park could ever be. Does that make sense? We all can plant trees, native plants, and all that kind of stuff. And then, ta-da, it's like one great big national park, but it's everybody's backyard. But these little nature spaces, I mean, again, if you've not listened to any episode, let me tell you, we live smack in the suburbs, okay? I do not live on a farm. We don't live in the woods. I don't have quote-unquote acreage. We have 1/8 of an acre, if that. I'd be lucky if we had 1/8 of an acre, actually. But we live on a cul-de-sac, so it's a little bit wider in the back. But the point is, I just live in the regular old burbs, okay? We have created loads of nature spaces. And as I always suggest, we started one corner at a time. I did a little corner here, I did a little patch there, and then I started connecting those things together. And then we have like paths and areas, and it's just really cool. But in these areas are little ponds. I have 3 little ponds. Like I said, one of them is about 3 feet around. The other one's about the same, 3 feet around. And the one in our front yard is literally 2 feet deep and probably 2.5 feet around. It took just a few hours to create. But the point is, the swamp darner dragonfly found my little nature spaces, and for the 3rd year in a row, not the same dragonfly, like I said, but these dragonflies are laying their eggs in our little ponds. I mean, how amazing is that? Like, last year, I released over 90 monarch butterflies. Okay, why? Because we have the host plant for the monarch butterfly. That is milkweed. Every species of milkweed, there's like 70 or something like that, but we have several that are good for Ohio. And the monarch flying around said, hey, the Tiffany's have milkweed in their backyard. So the female came down, laid her eggs, and I stalk her like a bad ex-boyfriend. And I find all these eggs, or I find the caterpillars, put them into protective custody. And there's a whole thing about that. I'm not going to bore you with it in this episode. But then they make their chrysalis, and then they come out as a butterfly, and then we release them. Point is, 90 monarch butterflies coming out of my suburban backyard is a big deal. So again, the overwhelming point is, when you give nature a space, nature thrives, and my heart is happy. Like, I love being outside, and I love seeing interesting things, and judging by my friends, clients, family's reaction to the pictures that I share, the things that I talk about, everybody kind of gets a smile on their face and a kick out of it. They just don't know where to start. So Again, I always encourage someone, start with one little corner and see how it goes. That's all you got to do. One little pot, one little spot, something like that. But it's been a really super cool day. Now I know I'm going to have even more dragonflies. And by the way, I already found 12 in our pond this spring. So the cycle is going to continue, and every day I'm going to smile a little more. So that is just all I wanted to share today. My happiness, my dragonfly happiness. Have an amazing day. Thank you for listening.